All right, let's move on to one story I don't want to lose sight of because it's been of a lot of importance to many of you out there, which is the state of the housing market. And Wall Street apparently has a new scheme to further their plans to become America's landlord. Put this up on the screen, reporting from the Wall Street Journal. Welcome to the neighborhood. Wall Street designed it. Big residential property investors are finding it harder to buy in good neighborhoods, so they are building new ones. They open this piece, I think is very interesting. Your new suburban rental has granite kitchen countertops built to withstand even the most hard-wearing tenant. The neighbors next door have the exact same laundry machine. Welcome to the community where every detail has been designed to keep costs down for the Wall Street landlord. They indicate big investors are bullish about America's family homes, so bullish they are willing to buy or build entire new neighborhoods. They were also willing to buy them, but they found that harder to do. So now they're just building them out as it becomes more difficult to purchase houses for the usual channels. Interest rates are at multi-year highs. Fewer homes are for sale. Homes are also eye-wateringly expensive. In October, prices hit a fresh record. In October, increasingly, Wall Street's solution is to build new neighborhoods of family homes where everybody rents. The model is not completely new. Clustered housing for students and senior citizens has been around, but they say the number of build-to-rent communities is still small, with 900 neighborhoods nationwide, each with an average of 135 to 150 homes, according to a report by the Urban Institute. But the concept is growing fast. The National Association of Home Builders estimates that roughly 10% of new housing construction is destined for build to rent. So on the one hand, Ryan, I suppose it's good that they're moving their gaze from buying up existing neighborhoods and snatching up the very limited inventory of single-family homes that are even available right now. On the other hand, of course, it's very unsettling to imagine these, gigantic companies and permanent capital as your perma landlord. And, it's just another indication of the sort of fraying and decaying of the American dream of owning your own house, which is the way that most Americans are able to achieve some level of stability and basic level of wealth so that they can, have a traditional, idealized American middle-class life.
Yeah. And we've got to do something about Wall Street buying up all these homes. Like the fabric of this society is stitched together by the thread of the American dream. And the American dream is often as much a dream as it is a reality, but the dream has to be there. And what Wall Street is doing, even if it's exaggerated somewhat, the extent to which they have bought up the properties at this point, it undermines people's faith in the future. And so it's a political issue just waiting to be grabbed by somebody. And I think you just have to get them out of this buying up residential homes business. Like, you just have to ban it. Or if you don't ban it, just make it extremely difficult for them. Yeah. So if they do it, if you own more than 2 or 1 residential homes, then these are the tax implications for that, to make them compete against homeowners in a way where actual human beings can outcompete them. Because right now it's the opposite. Like right now, because they run it as a business, they can write off all sorts of things, and they have better access to capital than a human being. Right. And so the human being is not just poorer, but also is tax disadvantaged in the competition for buying homes. You've got to flip that. You've got to make human beings tax advantaged against these corporations and Wall Street that are trying to buy it up. Now, more housing is a good thing. So maybe the deal that you offer them is, all right, we're kicking you out of this scheme where you tried to buy up all of this housing. If you want to go out and build a bunch of homes and rent them, okay, fine. Like that, like if the deal is, then you're kicked out of destroying the American dream. Yeah. It's like, is it ideal that Wall Street is your landlord because they built some tract homes somewhere? No, it's not ideal. Right. But it's not the worst either, because at least homes are being built. And that is a huge problem, that we just don't have enough housing. Massive problem. One thing that we've seen is, we covered this a while back, when you have these large-scale landlords, where it's not like mom and pop landlords are the most sympathetic of characters either. Let's be clear. The landlord is just in general not the most sympathetic of figures. But when you have these big national, massive companies buying up and renting out
huge proportions and taking over the rental market in various locations. They use oftentimes algorithms that they have developed to absolutely maximize their profit, which of course they're going to do. That's what they're in the game to do. But oftentimes what they've discovered is it actually makes them more money to price people out of the market and charge the absolute max, even if it means some of your stock is sitting empty. It actually works out for them in the long term to charge those really higher prices than the market will actually bear. The other thing that you find is, oh, turns out they're not great landlords because they cut costs in every way that they possibly can. So there's these documented instances of tenants having serious issue. We're talking like black mold and pipes exploding, whatever. And they do everything they possibly can to avoid having to pay for those repairs, to avoid having to do those repairs whatsoever. And, you know, this is the story of a modern economy in a lot of senses. Like, the more that things become nationalized and go away from the local person that you have to look at your kids' back to school night or the grocery store or run into in downtown or whatever, the easier it is to make those sort of decisions and feel absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah, and the risk is that we'll go too long, let them buy up too much market share, that then they're too big to fail. And when politicians finally are pressured by people to do something about it, now it's so built, it's so locked in.
Yeah. Well, you know, to the Democratic Party's credit, they have several proposals of actual legislation that is meant to curb the practices of Wall Street coming in and buying up single-family homes. Some of this, you know, is quite significant. I'm blanking on all of the relevant details right at the moment, but it was, you know, it was pretty significant in terms of curbing the practice. So again, to the earlier discussion, like if Joe Biden wanted to actually run on something, this would be a good issue. Then it would put a lot of pressure on Republicans because they talk a big game about, you know, your homeowners and the housing market and, you know, being more populist. But when it came down to it, like, they're very much in bed with the developers. Donald Trump is a developer. So for him to, you know, side against like these big Wall Street firms that he's buddies with, I think it would be very difficult and put him in a tough space. And it's obviously an issue that people care a lot about. Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.